Greetings, YouTubers. I thought I'd do a video on the differences between my guitars here, since I now have a Fender Stratocaster, an Ibanez Prestige, and a Les Paul Classic, which is my oldest guitar. And I just wanted to talk about the differences between these in case somebody has one of these and they want to get another one. Obviously, you'll probably go to the store and play it, but it's not really the same unless you sit there in the store for 5 or 6 hours and take your other guitars and go back and forth. So I'll just point out some things that I've noticed. First, my oldest guitar is this Les Paul here. It's a mid-90s classic Les Paul Classic here. And 24 and 3/4 inch scale, 12-inch radius. And Les Paul guitars, what can you say? Tone, tone, and more tone. Other than that, it's probably like the least ergonomic guitar ever made. It's really uncomfortable to sit around with, and it's really heavy. However, when you play it standing up, if you can shoulder the weight, it's really nice because it's bottom heavy, so the headstock kind of points up. So it's pretty comfortable when you're standing up to play it. It's got the old school nitrocellulose finish. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but there's a little bit of wear right here. And it just feels nice. The pickup's a 498T right here. It's a little bit muddy, but it's not too bad. One thing about Les Pauls is the necks on these things are notoriously delicate, and mine has actually had the headstock crack just from falling off the stand. The headstock cracked on it. And then about a month ago, my neck developed a warp that the truss rod would not relieve. So I stuck it in the case and I just pulled it out the other day, and now it's okay again. But the necks on these things are just really delicate, which is odd for such a heavy. I mean, this thing's like a boat anchor, but the neck is just super delicate on it. So that's the Les Paul there. I mean, it's just got killer tone and sustain. It's not very comfortable to play. Here's my American Strat. I got this last year, and I really like this guitar, even though I had to do some modifications on it, like all Strats need to be modified in my opinion. One thing I really like is the stain finish on here. It feels really good, especially like when it's hot and you're kind of sweaty. It feels really good. It's got a 9.5 inch radius neck on it, and I'm not sure what you would call these frets, but they feel small to me, which I'm not really a fan of. And I had to change the bridge saddles because it's got the vintage 6-screw style, and the saddles that come on those are they're cheese graters. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know, Fender's got this thing where they try to sell people on vintage, but you know, guitars have improved a lot in the last 40 or 50 years. So I changed the bridge saddles there. Also blocked the bridge off because no matter what I did, if you just use the whammy bar on it, you could get it to come back in decent tune if you would pull back up on it after you do a dive, but really it's just a pain in the butt, and it sounds and plays better since I blocked that. And it's got a nice natural finish on the back of the neck, which I really like. And you know, I didn't really notice too much that I didn't care for the radius until a few months ago when I got my Ibanez. Here I have an Ibanez Prestige. Oops. Man, I really like this guitar a lot. It's got a 17-inch radius, super flat, really thin, natural finish, super extra jumbo frets, the heel access that you go all the way up. So, you know, I'm thinking, well, I don't play up there that much, but if you have a guitar that doesn't hinder your hand sliding up, you actually play up there more than you would think. For example, the C minor arpeggios right here. It's easier to play and it sounds better than down here at the 3rd position. And just the flatness and the jumbo frets on this make it so much easier to play legato and tapping. And also another thing I noticed on this is the strings are much further apart, which is kind of odd. But I actually like it because as you bend the string, you don't pick up the tension on the next string so much like on the Strat. Another thing about this is I have it set up standard tuning with 9s on it, and it just feels nice and slinky. To get the same feeling on my Strat, I have to tune the 9s half a step down. Another thing I notice is I don't really like the 9.5 radius on my Strat since I got this, because when I go back and forth I just realize it adds an extra challenge to everything you do, especially when it comes to like alternate picking. That extra little curve, it throws me off. You know, I'm not a super excellent shredder at this point, so I quit playing for 10 years. But anyway, this is the Ibanez. It's got the V8 pickup and the V7. They're pretty decent, not too bad. I really like this guitar. I got a good deal on it. I got it from Ibanez Rules, and I didn't have any of the setup work done on it, and it's perfect to me. I can't find anything wrong with it. One more thing on the Strat here is I changed the, I got a little Screaming Demon here because single coil on the bridge it doesn't work for me, so I have that. One thing about this guitar is just so comfortable everywhere, just wherever you touch it, it seems like it's just a nice kind of curve, and it feels good. You know, it feels good everywhere you touch it. So even though the radius might not be the greatest for shredding, it feels comfortable. Everywhere you touch it, it's just comfortable. Also, another thing I did is I had a master tone put in. I moved the volume here because the volume is in the wrong spot on Stratocasters. Again, just my opinion. I'm a rock and metal player, and you know, the volume's just in the wrong place. I mean, come on. But it's not a big deal. You can modify Fenders extensively. It's kind of one of the appeals of them. It's a really nice piece of wood too. And what can I say? The Les Paul's not getting much action between this and my Ibanez. It's really all I play. I call this my Mojo guitar, and the Ibanez is the Ninja guitar. So that's it. Just a few differences between my guitars. And thanks for watching.